Hey guys, it's Jason with the Board Game Mechanics, and today we're going to take a look at the newest version of a classic card game called Fluxx, and that game is called Fantasy Fluxx. Fantasy Fluxx is the newest edition of Fluxx. There have been tons of versions, which I'll talk about some later. And this game comes out from Looney Labs. Plays 2 to 6 players, 10 to 40 minutes, depending on how many players you're playing and how the cards come out. So there's lots of determining factors there. What you're doing in this game is you are trying to, let me see if I can explain the theme as best as possible. You're trying to get certain types of characters down in front of you known as keepers, to fulfill the story goal, which would basically be the win condition. The trick here is the win condition is always changing. There may be multiple win conditions. The rules are always changing. Creepers are coming, which are going to be like bad cards that are going to keep you from winning unless otherwise stated in a goal. And the game can sometimes just turn into madness. Silly, zany madness. So the name Fluxx is apt because everything about this game is in a constant state of flux. So, hence the name, what the game is about. Now let's go down to the table, see how it plays. Alright, so here's a game of Fantasy Fluxx, all set up for 2 players. Setup is pretty easy. You're going to shuffle all the cards together, deal each player 3, put the basic rules card out in the middle of the table. Now, the way the game works is, you're going to do what the rules say. At the beginning of the game, there's this rule. Draw 1, play 1. But the game's called Fluxx because the rules are ever changing, the win condition is ever changing, so the game is always in flux, hence the name. So now here's how you're going to play. So I'm going to play as this player, but you'll see this one too, but I'm going to try a little harder with this guy. So what you're trying to do is you are trying to get keepers down in front of you, like these, the green cards, to be able to meet these gold cards that are going to be played during the game to win the game. If at any point you have met the goal that's out in front of you, or out for the win condition, you are the winner. That's it. It's tricky, but it's possible. All right, so let's go ahead and take my turn. So here's my cards. I have the Unicorn, I have the School of Wizardry, which needs these 2 things, and I have the Ring and the Dark Lord. All right, so I'm going to draw a card. I drew an action card. So what that's going to do is I can take this action, I can play this card as my action and do what it says. You killed my father is the card, and then it's going to have this action. I'm not going to do that right now because what I want to do is I want to play the Unicorn down. So I'm going to play the Unicorn down in front of me, and that's my turn. There's a keeper limit. There might be a keeper limit that comes out later. As of right now, you're good to go. There could be a hand limit. There could be multiple win conditions. All that could change, but right now this is all I'm doing. So then it's this player's turn. Same thing. We can look and see what they have. So they're going to have a bunch of rules. So they have a hand limit of 2, all these, so they're going to draw a card. They drew another rule. So they are going to, what's this one? Before you final play, if you are not empty-handed, you may discard your entire hand to draw 3 cards. Ugh. Let's do this one. We're going to do hand limit of 2. So we'll put this rule out here. We'll just put it right here. Hand limit of 2. So at the end of their turn, they have to discard down to 2. So let's do, we don't want that. Let's get rid of hand limit of 1. We'll put that up here in the discard pile. All right, so that's their turn. This player has a hand limit of 2 as well, I guess. So they'll get rid of this. All right, so now back to them. Draw a card, play a card. I'm just going to throw a goal out. So let's do, we're going to have our first goal out here. School of Wizardry. So we need to have the castle and the Cranky Magic Teacher out in front of us, and we win. That's the end of my turn. Have 2 cards. Done. I'm going to draw over here. Got another rule, so we're going to go ahead and play that rule because I like that one. Keeper limit of 3. So you can't have any more than 3 of these green cards in front of you at the end of your turn. Done. Let's see. So I drew a keeper. I'm going to go ahead and play that. You can ignore all hand and keeper limit rules. So now because I played the Bag of Holding, I can ignore both of these. At the end of my turn, I don't have to have 2, and I can keep more than 3. That's my turn. Moving on to this guy, this card. They got an action. Let's do that. They're going to discard their choice of up to half rounded up of the new rule cards in play. So just one. Let's get rid of that one. All right. And that's how the game's going to work. So let me show you some of the other cards. So the game's going to keep going like that until somebody wins. So let's show you some other cards, because there's some different kind of things in here. There will be the surprise cards, which I'll explain. And there's also keepers. So let's talk about the keepers. So if you draw a keeper, it immediately goes down in front of you. Normally you can't win the game with a keeper in front of you, unless, like this gold card I have, unless that gold card is in play. I can win with that keeper and the ring. So normally you can't win unless otherwise stated. And the other thing is, when I draw a creeper, I play it immediately, then I would automatically draw another card, and it would, continue my turn as normal. So if you keep drawing creepers, you're going to keep drawing cards. And that's a creeper. Now, there's also surprise cards, which are going to be purple. These are the only cards that can be played out of turn. So I could take this card, and I could play out of turn, cancel an action. If someone's trying to do something to me, I can do that to stop it. I can also cancel another purple card that's being played, even if it's not affecting me. Then I can do this action on my turn, which is going to affect other players if I play it on my turn. So there's 3 ways you can play these cards, and they're going to just most of the time defend you or attack other players. So that's kind of how those work. So there's new rules. There's the actions, which I've shown you. So this is another action, a creeper sweeper. Discard all of the creepers in play, which would mean I would just take it and it would go away. So if I was trying to work on this goal, somebody played that card, that stinks because now it's in the discard. I'd have to look for an action or something to get that out of the discard. So that's rough, or change the goal. So that's the game. You're going to just keep playing and following all the rules that are out, getting rid of the rules, drawing cards, changing the goals until someone wins. That's how you play Fantasy Fluxx. Let's go to the top. See what they think about it. All right, well, that was Fantasy Fluxx. So I have a couple other versions of this game. I have Wizard of Oz, I have Batman, and I have Monty Python. So with this one, that'll be my 4th version of this game. They each follow the same kind of rules. So like what I showed you in this overview is going to be the basic gameplay of all the editions. The difference is here in Batman, you're going to have Arkham Asylum, where you can put all the bad guys into Arkham. Then there can be cards that can spread those bad guys back around out to everybody, which kind of adds another level of chaos, but also adds theme, because in Batman, all the bad guys are always going to Arkham and all that mess. So, makes sense. In Wizard of Oz, there's going to be tornadoes that are going to come around, and they're going to spin a bunch of cards, like move some of the creepers or the keepers around to other players, which is just, also thematic. And in Monty Python, it's going to just kind of follow. It doesn't have a super ton of special things like that, but there could be some cards where you have to quote something from Monty Python, or, if one of the cards says, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, whatever, and it says, if you know what that means, draw a card that's a rule. So just stuff like that that's going to be set specific. So they all have that. This one mostly just has fantasy characters. They're all based on like fantasy tropes. Like I showed you this one in the overview. It's Sauron and the ring from Lord of the Rings. But because it's unlicensed, it's the Dark Lord and the Magic Ring. But everyone who's ever watched fantasy knows what this is. This one, the other one that I showed you, School of Wizardry. Guess what that belongs to? So you kind of get it. It's cool to see those cards come out. You obviously know what they're talking about. You obviously know what movies or TV shows they relate to. But, still unlicensed, so they had to do that name. This guy, the dreaded pirate, probably, I don't know, I thought it was going to be Davy Jones, but I guess it's not Davy Jones. So maybe I shouldn't have just shown you that at all. So, but yeah, you get it. It's going to just follow the fairy tale themes and tropes and all that type of thing. It's just going to make it, silly when you're playing, because you're trying to, I'll be like, hey, let's do the Harry Potter goal or whatever, so you can get into the theme a little bit more while you're playing. This is a fun, silly game. Clearly, I like it because this is my 4th copy of it. So it's a fast card game. It's simple. It's easy to play. It's easy to teach. You don't even have to explain the game a lot. You just say, hey, here's what you're going to do in your turn. Draw 1, play 1. If this card comes out, you need to have those specific green cards in front of you, and you win. If you draw a creeper, it automatically gets held in front of you. Creepers keep you from winning unless a gold card states otherwise. I just explained the game right there. That's it. If a purple card comes out, you can explain those as they happen. blue cards. You can explain those two. Really easy to play, really easy to teach, and it's fun. It says it goes up to 6 players. I think that's right. I haven't played it at 6. I don't think I would play it at 6 because that would just be crazy chaos and madness. But I've played it at 4 and I like it at 4. I really like it at 2 because it's fast. You get all the fun of the game, but with less downtime because you're taking a turn every other turn, which is awesome. So if you like card games, you like silly rules, you like just having a fun time with your friends in a game that, you know, you can just also have conversations while you're playing, then this is a game you should check out. Any of the editions, but specifically this fantasy one, is really good. So I'm going to give this a BGM accepted seal. I'm going to give this a 7 out of 10 on BGG, which is a 3.5 out of 5. On an arbitrary wrench scale, that means absolutely nothing, but we like to give it the games that we enjoy, so that's what I'm going to do. I enjoy Fluxx, so I'm giving it a seal, okay? I don't care if other people don't like it. I like it. So it's my channel. I talk about what I want. So that was Fantasy Fluxx from Looney Labs. I'm Jason with the Board Game Mechanics, and as always, keep gaming.